and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda, and if you're new here, know that here you will find information about what it's like to be a disabled military wife, as well as general disability resources. In a previous video, I talked about my top tips for considering dating a military member. Now, if you've decided to go ahead and give it a try, this video is for you, because here I'm going to talk about my top tips for actually dating the military member. And most of these pertain to someone who needs to travel to visit their military member and the challenges and things that they need to consider when preparing to travel. So my first tip, is to know that you will be long distance at some point. And what that means for you is that you'll need to consider your budget. Are you able to visit? Can you afford it? How often can you afford it? Will you split the expenses? And then along with that comes the consideration of how you'll get there. Can you drive? Will you need to fly? Will you take a train? And then from there, how will you get to the base or the post? Know that your service member may not be able to pick you up at the airport or the train station or wherever. That may be the plan, but you need to have a plan B. Be prepared to take a taxi or an Uber, or if you need to, for the sake of easing the travel situation, bring a friend with you, or rent a car. If your service member cannot pick you up and you need to go through the gate on your own, and you know that ahead of time, it's important to ask your service member to request a pass for you from the front gate, because you need identification, not only of who you are, but that someone will be sponsoring you onto the base. Typically what that means is they'll need a copy of your driver's license. If you're the one driving, they will also need a copy of your car insurance, I think. Car insurance and registration, I believe. And they'll do a background check for you. If you need to go this route by asking your service member to put in a pass for you, have your service member ask the military police officer to email a copy of your pass to you and to them, because it's easy for paperwork to get lost. It just is. The officers that you will see in the building will not necessarily be the ones who are doing your background check when you arrive. And if they can't find the paperwork, you're kind of stuck unless your service member can come meet you at the gate. And if you have a situation like mine where your service member is in class and doesn't have his or her phone, you kind of have to sit there. But if you have a copy of the email, the officer is much more likely to see that the pass was put in and go ahead with the background check and let you in. So, next. if you are staying at a hotel on post, know that not every single one of them has an elevator. If you have a disability that affects your mobility and you need some assistance with getting your stuff upstairs, if you're not staying on the bottom floor, pack lightly. Because if your service member isn't available, you're likely to need to do it on your own. And trust me, it's no fun trying to drag a 50-pound suitcase up a couple flights of stairs. It's just not. Next, if you are traveling across time zones, plan your travel times accordingly. If your disability affects your mobility in a way that is exacerbated by you being tired, plan to arrive at a time when you'll hopefully not be tired. Make sure you hydrate on the plane. It helps keep you energized. It just makes the travel day easier, and it makes it possible for you to actually spend time with your service member when you're actually able to meet up, rather than, you napping when your service member is finally finished with their workday. Practical tip. Always bring closed-toed shoes with you. Comfortable closed-toed shoes. Why? Because there are some places, most notably the defects, the dining facilities, where you cannot go inside if you do not have on closed-toed shoes. I learned this the hard way. Because I didn't know the rule, and I walked in wearing a pair of dressy sandals one day, and I wasn't allowed in, so we had to go find someplace else to eat. So, closed-toed shoes, don't forget. Next, be prepared for plans to change. And I mean that in terms of your travel plans. I mean it in terms of your day-to-day plans when you're actually together. Bring things to do. But most importantly, bring your patience and bring your grace, because it's important to remember that it is not your service member's fault when an accountability formation is called at the last minute. It's not your service member's fault if somebody else doesn't follow the rules and everyone suddenly has a curfew. Of course, those are typically for a service member who's living in the barracks. Regardless of whether your service member is living in the barracks, though, things come up. It just happens. And it's not your service member's fault, and there's nothing they can do about it. They've got to go. Even if they've signed a 4-day pass, even if they're on leave, sometimes things just change, and you've got to be able to roll with the punches. Okay? And being able to be patient about those things will make your visits go much more smoothly, and you'll be able to enjoy each other's company for however much time you actually have. And I think that's all I have for you today. In the next video, I'll be talking about makeup. Now, what does makeup have to do with being disabled and a military wife? I promise. It will make sense. In the meantime, give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, comment down below, tell me what tips you think are the most helpful, tell me what tips you would add to this that I didn't mention, and tell me what videos you'd like to see next. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!